guys, it's Barking Mad, and today I'm going to be talking about cats. Cats that can be really nice and really sweet, and you're just like, oh, I love you forever. And cats that are like, yes, just like this. So I've had a couple of encounters with different cats and stuff, so, because I live where a lot of cats live in my area. I reckon there's about 20, and 2 of them belong to my friend, and they are called Gizmo and Spike, and they are brothers, and they're very sweet most of the time. But last summer, Gizmo and Spike's family went on holiday. I think they went to France, and we were looking after them, feeding them, or whatever. So we went in, and we were going to, on like the second or third day that they were away, we went in, we were going to feed them, and there was a note under the door, and it said that 2 black and white cats had been in a fight, and they thought it would be their cat, but it wasn't. So if we just wanted to check and see if it was either Gizmo or Spike or whatever. So we looked around, and Gizmo was out in one of his wanders. He does that sometimes, and Spike, he hadn't been let out, and their cat flap is one way, so they can get in but they can't get out. And Spike had been in the house when we'd left the day before, but he wasn't, and we couldn't find him. So we went around the house searching for him, going, oh god, and we found him eventually, and he was in the dark underneath my friend's parents' bed, and he crawled out, and he looked big of sorry stain, and he hid under a chair, and he doesn't usually comes and wraps himself around her legs, and he's really sweet. So we kind of knew immediately that something was up, and we noticed that when he was walking, I think it was his left leg was dragging slightly, and he was sort of limping. And so we'd come back from swimming, so we left him in the house for a couple of minutes while we went back and had lunch, and then after lunch we went back across, found a cat carrier, popped him in. He went in quite happily because we put like a blanket in there, and he just went and started playing with the blanket. And we took him along to the vets, although we had to phone a taxi because it's a heavy cat carrier, and Spike's a bit of a heavy cat. So we took him down to the hospital, and hospital vet, and they said, okay, we'll keep him in overnight, and it'll be fine, and if you come back tomorrow, we'll see if we can tell you what's up with him. So we went home, went to sleep, and we were all like, because we all felt really bad, and we were like, oh no, what's going to happen to Spike? It was not a fun night that night. So the next day we went down to the vets, and it was like, and she said, right, so he's mainly fine, it's just that he's torn his ligament, so you can either pay for the operation, which cost a bit, or you can just try and let him rest and see if it'll be fine. And at that point we had to tell her that we're not Spike's actual owners, we're just looking after him for my friend. And she said, right, okay, so we'll keep him in for a couple more days, and then you can take him home, but you have to keep him in this cage. The cage was about this size, and Spike's about this size. So we took him home, and we popped him in, and we went back to visit him a couple of hours later, and he was not. So anyway, so we took him back. After a couple of days, we took him back to his house, and we left him for a couple of hours and went back after dinner, and it was obvious he was not having a good time. He was yowling, and he'd knocked his litter tray out of the cage. Spike was he was having a hissy fit, to be completely honest, and Gizmo was not helping. He was running around, jumping on the cage and stuff. And we figured it was because he's used to being in his house and running about and doing whatever, but because he was in a cage he couldn't, and it was annoying him, so we had to keep him in our front hall for a bit, which was quite fun, because in the morning you had to go and feed him, and you could give him a quick hug and stuff, so yeah. And eventually he got better, and my friend had to pay for the operation because he wasn't getting much better, except the operation failed and he tore the other ligament as well. So we had to get another operation, and all in all it cost £8,000. But what do you want to do? The next thing I'm going to tell you about is the time where we had this Norwegian forest long-haired cat strolling up and down our street, and for about a week. And that week it was like really rainy. So, and he was meowing, and he came. And when I was at school, one day he came when we were getting our windows washed. He came up to our front door and was all like, ah! He was meowing, so Mum let him in. Well, she didn't actually. He came in himself and sat in the hall, and she kept him in for a little bit until the rain went off and put him back outside. And then at the weekend he came back, and he just kept going, and we fed him, and eventually we went round, because we were like, what if he's lost? So my mum went round the West End trying to find where he lived, and like if there were any missing cat posters or anything, but there weren't. So then she was talking about it to my upstairs neighbour, and she said, oh, that cat, yeah, we've been feeding him as well. And then we fed him one time, and then he never came back. We've not seen her since. So we think that he's just been living up around there, and she's just been going for a wander. Like, how many people can I trick into feeding me? Cats are ungrateful sometimes. So that's that happened again with the little tiny skinny cat. We called her Lola, me and my friend who owns Spike, because he followed us home one time. I was going over to his, and Lola followed us the whole way, and then we're talking to my friend who owns a big black Labrador called Sky, and she said that she lives around there, and like around the park, and that she is called Margaret, and she lives with an elderly couple who feed her a lot. Again, not cool cats. Those are not cool cats. But cats are awesome, so I like dogs and I like cats, and it's not. I find it silly that people are like, oh, I'm a cat person. Oh no, you're a dog person. It doesn't matter. You can be both. Anyway, so cats. Bye, guys.